Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Rod Fleming here, I hope you're well. Today we're going to be talking about chest feeding, okay? And before we get into that, and it's a cracker, I want you to please like and share the video, and I want you to go onto one of the funding links and just click on one of them, give us a little bit of money, what's in your pocket, you know, £3 or something, join Patreon, so show some support that way, give a little on PayPal, buy me a coffee, very simple, buy me a Ko-Fi, put something into our GoFundMe, which is really necessary because Sam does have, well anyway, we won't go into details, but we do need it, right? There's not really much in the way of medical insurance here, believe me. On with the show. Chest feeding. And this, you know, this has done the rounds a little bit, but it came up last week because the Australian Breastfeeding Association, of all things, has come up and said, you must no longer call it breastfeeding. You must call it instead chest feeding. And, you know, you couldn't make this nonsense up. It is absolute rubbish. It's such presumptuous, virtue signalling, anally retentive crap. Not allowed to call it breastfeeding, we've got to call it chest feeding. Why is you're not allowed to say this? It's because you might upset the 100 or 200 or 300 trans men across the planet who've actually had kids and who think that they're men. While breastfeeding, I'm sorry, you're not chest feeding, you're breastfeeding. They're breastfeeding. There's not much more that you can do that's more feminine than breastfeeding. You know, seriously girls, it's really feminine. It's maximum feminine. But the only thing that's more feminine than feeding a baby from your own body is giving birth to the baby in the first place. A few years ago I was, this was on Twitter, and I encountered a person, typical of these trans men, so-called trans men, you know, bullshit. I've said this before, I'll quickly mention it again. You know, trans men, you've got to watch them because they're absolutely full to the hilt of testosterone, right? But they have zero socialization as men. You know, we all went through the schoolyard, right? And if you went and annoyed a big boy, right, because you were a bumptious little what's-it, he was quite likely just to belt you one. And that would be the end of the day. You know, that's it. You got a black eye. What happened to you, son? Oh, Mum, boy hit me. Why? Because I called him a big fat arse. Well, what did you expect? But trans men don't have that. And see, so they constantly annoy men, relying on their female privilege not to get walloped. I mean, it's really remarkable, isn't it? You know, think about it. They're using female privilege to protect the things they say as trans men. Very odd. Anyway, this particular woman, sorry, trans man, was what she called a gestational parent. And I was, you know, being the daft laddie, like, I says, what's that like? What exactly do you mean by that? And she said, oh, well, I conceived and gave birth to a baby. And I said, well, you mean you're its mother? And she said, no, I'm a man, I'm a bloke. I can't be its mother. This is the level of insanity we're talking about. That people who have given birth to other individuals are saying that they are actually men. They're saying they're men. They're saying, I'm that person's daddy, you know. And there's a case, I'll do another piece on it, which has been dragging on for years about a particular individual, I don't have his name up, in the UK who's been trying to get her name. She gave birth, it's a trans man who gave birth to a baby and wants to be listed on this baby's birth certificate as the father. And the law goes, no. And the law went on appeal court. No, you can't. That's it. And now she's talking about going to the European Court of Human Rights, which Britain no longer has to obey, for the same reason. Force them to put father on the the birth certificate of the child that came out of my womb. I'll repeat that. This is the child that came out of her womb. And she wants to be called its father. I'm sorry. I think these people are bloody lunatics. Anyway, back to the chest milk. I thought you'd forgotten, you know. So the idea is that you can't call it chest milk anymore, breast milk anymore. You have to call it chest milk. You're not allowed to call it breastfeeding, even though this child is feeding from a breast. You have to call it chest feeding. You're not allowed, according to the Australian Breastfeeding Association, you're not allowed to call lactating mothers anymore. You have to call them chest feeding parents. I mean, it's beyond ludicrous. It's beyond stupid. You know, a woman is a person of feminine gender. How can you possibly do something that is more feminine than giving birth to and suckling a baby? How could you possibly do that? How could there be anything more feminine than that? There couldn't. There couldn't. It's a definition of femininity. Sorry, that's the dog shaking. I don't know what he's got in his lugs, but they're flying all over the place now. It's just an absurdity. A sweet little absurdity, which we should call out. You know, I'm completely in favour of, you know, if somebody wants to trans, that's fine. Be trans. I don't care. And trans women, HSTS trans women, are amongst the loveliest people on the planet. You know, they're just wonderful, lovely people. They are not trying to make me say absolutely bloody ridiculous things and stupid things that make no sense, just, you know, so that they won't feel left out or not included or maybe, rejected by society or any crap like that. Get over yourselves, you absolute bloody narcissists. Thank you. That's all I have to say on that one.